Hey gang, what's up? Hope everybody's out there's having a good day, and welcome back to another edition of Intuitive Angling. And today we're going to answer a really good subscriber question that wanted to know about what's the best way to unhook a bass that's been hooked like deep in the mouth. So I can't believe we've never done a video on this today, but I'm going to give you guys some tips and advice on what you can do to help save the bass with that. Real quick before we get started here, just wanted to remind you guys a couple different housekeeping tips. Weekly reminder, if you guys hadn't had a chance to check out our Fish of the Moment lake map breakdowns, please do so. I'll include the link in the description. We got lake maps that Johnny Schultz, myself, Matt Steffen builds all across the country, all 4 seasons. Got a bunch of great fall maps out now. You can check those out again, fishthemoment.com, link in the description. Also, if you guys are wanting to stock up on any tackle, I'll include the Baitworks link in the description. One of the best tackle stores in the entire country online. It's also a great way to help support the channel if you use that link. Much appreciated. Okay, guys, let's get into this a little bit about the hook and the bass. Now, a lot of this, like I said, bass get hooked in tons of different ways. I mean, some of the bass are snagged on the side, some in the outside of the mouth, some on the inside of the mouth, some midway in the mouth, some deep in the mouth. So specifically what I want to talk about today is if you get a bass that's hooked deep, what's the best way to go about unhooking it? What can you do with it? First of all, you got to get you a pair of good long nose, needle nose pliers, the type that have a real long nose on it. You know, the longer the better, because you can reach in there. And that is going to be the best way to get a bass unhooked that has not swallowed the bait. So the best way to do it, guys, is if you have a bass that's hooked inside the mouth deep, that's, you know, hooked in the roof of the mouth or the side of the mouth that hasn't swallowed the hook, just take your needle nose out there and try to gently dislodge the hook with that particular needle nose. Now, sometimes what you can do, and I do this all the time, when a bass takes a lure real deep, like back towards its gill plate areas, a lot of the time it's better to unhook the bass from going inside the gill plate from the outside. So in order to do this, what you need is a pair of nippers, you know, just side cutter nippers. And what I like to do is most of the time when a bass gets a lure deep towards its gill plates, is I like to go in through there, and if I can unhook it with my needle nose pliers from the outside going in through the gills, if the fish is large enough and if I can do that without touching the gills and making them bleed, I'll do that. But sometimes what I do is I'll go in there and I'll cut off part of the hook with the side cutters from the outside going inside of the gill, and then that allows me to safely unhook the fish without you know, damaging the fish. You really want to be critical, or you really want to be careful not to touch the gill plates, because most of the time when a bass dies from bleeding, it's usually because there's been some damage to the gill plates aside from swallowing, but most of the time it's gill plate damage. So when you're trying to dislodge a bass and get a bass unhooked, be very, very aware that you don't touch the gill plates with the hook or the instrument that you're using. That's very, very important. Now, the next one, which is worst case scenario, is when a bass swallows a lure. Now, I have read stuff, guys, about dislodging and tools that you can use to get it out, but all the experience that I've had in bass fishing and everything I've read about it, the best thing you can do if a bass swallows a hook is just to cut the line and leave the hook in there and let the bass's stomach acids eventually dissolve that hook. If you say, for example, if you hook it, most of the time it's on a single hook lure like a shaky head or a drop shot or a Texas rig worm. When they swallow it like that, I'm going to say 95% of that's the lure categories they swallow. But try to gently, if you've caught it on a creature bait or a shaky head or something like that, try to gently remove the plastic worm or the soft plastic away from it, and try to, you know, clip away as much of the hook as you can and leave that hook in there. Now, like I said, they can still feed like that, you know, and I have heard estimates, I don't know for sure, but it takes sometimes like a month and the stomach acids will eventually dissolve that hook out. The bass has a lot better chance of surviving if you do that instead of trying to dislodge it. Never, never try to dislodge a hook after a bass has swallowed it with needle nose pliers or something like that. And again, you guys may know a little bit more about this, or some of you people that understand or have read about how to dislodge hooks once they swallow it. I've never seen it done. I've never seen it be effective. I think it's pretty dangerous procedure, but like I said, I just usually clip it and leave them in there with that. So a lot of times there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, you know, most of the time when a bass swallows a lure, it's because they've had the lure in its mouth for a long time. I don't think a lot of people intentionally want a fish to swallow the lure, but a lot of it just depends on the mood and personality of the fish, how quick they actually inhale that. But try to do your best, man. Just don't slop through it. Don't like rush your way through trying to get a fish unhooked. Take the time to, you know, put the effort in to trying to gently unhook them. And another thing, guys, if you hook a bass that's normally hooked just in the inside of the mouth, you know, close to the outside of the mouth, you know, try to be gentle with the fish. I see so many guys out there that are they just rip those hooks out of their mouth, or they'll take it and they'll pop it down like a jig trying to get out. You know, show some respect for that fish and try to you know, gently unhook that fish as easily as you can and get it back into the water as soon as you can. And that's the best way to do it, in my opinion. So hope that helps you guys out. Like I said, thanks again for tuning in the video. Please hit that subscribe button, guys, and we'll talk later. See you.